Hey everybody, it's Wisp, and I just wanted to talk about this fan-made multiplayer game concept I have for Mass Effect. We got the Legendary Edition last year. The new game's coming out several years from now. Very excited for Mass Effect 5. The movie rumors could be true, could be false. Hopefully the series is done with love, whatever they end up doing. I have a lot of thoughts on that I'll try to swallow for now because I'm not here to be pessimistic. I just wanted to talk about multiplayer. I definitely don't want Mass Effect 5 to be a multiplayer exclusively game like Destiny or Anthem with a Mass Effect skin, because I hate what that does to the story, making the player character. But neither Shepard nor Ryder would have felt as compelling as they did if they were kind of a nameless soldier, which is what games like Destiny and Anthem do to make the storyline work. But aside from that, I don't want to be tied to other people. I really love exploring Mass Effect with Garrus and Tali or Rex and Ashley, whatever, making my teams to carry forward and watch their friendships grow, watch them develop in this world. And those games don't give me that, because instead maybe I'm exploring it with my friends and we're having fun, but we're not like developing as people or really as characters. Now, if I'm playing with random people online, they might be so much better than me that I can't really enjoy the game at my pace, or so much worse that I'm not able to enjoy the game at my pace because I'm taking care of them. And that's an okay thing, but for Mass Effect, that's so environmental and it's so deep. It doesn't work. But I know people need their multiplayer outlet, and for some people, things like the Apex or Mass Effect 3's multiplayer don't work anymore. So I just decided to come up with, to me, it would be the best Mass Effect multiplayer game. And this game is something that, hypothetically, a new studio is taking over for the multiplayer, while BioWare works on the story mode. And I'm calling it RMAX Arena, naming the entire game after that one location on the Citadel. Because in this fanfiction game, you control a character that can be from any species, any gender, of course, and you customize them, make their class, whatever. It can include the Explorer class from Andromeda, and they go out to the RMAX Arena, which is now expanded into its own wing of the Citadel instead of that one arena. The hub world is the Citadel or Nexus or whatever the next hub location is, and as you're walking around, you can see other NPCs made from customizable assets, and there's some hilarious dialogue that we love seeing to make the world feel alive. But what you're walking to is different games. So one of them would be, of course, the original RMAX Arena game, where you have a team of 2 other NPCs and you try to get high scores. You can compete by sharing high scores online, or you can make the other 2 people in your party actual online players for a 3-player mode. Or you can go somewhere where you play basically Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, and you're pretending to defend Earth as this original character you created. The storyline for this game is that it's all fake. You're just exploring the arena. You're playing a multiplayer game within a multiplayer game, effectively. But in the lore of this game, the arena is kind of connected through this electronic space-based cloud. And when Shepard went to the RMAX Arena, he got all of his friends to come with him. He could play as anyone who was still alive. But I think it'd be great if they tried to do that same thing, but instead they had like character IDs or character licenses. So you get them. Let's say you decided to play as, we'll just keep it simple, you're playing as a human. You can customize your gender, appearance, any class. Well, you get the Batarian card, and then you can play as a Batarian soldier, and you get all the characters that you didn't pick, you unlock through leveling up. You level up by playing the different game modes any amount of time, and you get EXP naturally. You get everything over time. New weapons to use, all of it comes to you through some sort of currency that you earn that you can buy things from the store. Not in terms of loot boxes, in terms of actually earning them and buying them from a vendor or something. And there's like modifications, character licenses that give you the character and then increase customization options, things like that. They can give you all of the characters from both Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer as different licenses that you can obtain. But then, since these are hypothetical, technically non-canon, only canon to its own game, they don't have to really obey the rules of time. Like, they can give you character licenses of actual legacy characters. And my idea for how you get character licenses is, for the most part, you level yourself up or you buy them in arenas, but some of them are challenge unlocks. So let's say you beat the game on Spectre difficulty. You unlock the Shepard license. I would posit that there's 2 Shepard licenses, so male and female can be used and can be leveled up separately, where you have your character level and you just level up throughout the game. And then each character has their own level 1 through 20, like multiplayer would. Your main character is sort of just like your icon, so I can join in a game with you and see exactly what level you are. But all of your characters have a separate level, so you can progress endlessly. You can keep playing the game and still have a character to progress. To an extent, of course, there's gonna have to be a limit of characters. But once you get the Shepherd licenses, you can customize male separately from female, so you can have 2 different battle sets set up. You can make them different classes, give one of them renegade facial scarring, and so on. And of course, Shepherd wouldn't be the only legacy character to come back. Maybe once you reach a certain level as Shepherd, you will knock Garrus, or once your player level hits a certain thing, you will knock Tali. Just different recruitment or different concepts on how you will knock these different characters. They really only have to use pre-registered skills, because again, since this game is its own canon, they can just say, well, the arena has these skills registered. Yeah, Shepherd can do these other things, but that's Shepherd. The Shepherd ID card is a VI reconstruction of Shepherd. It gives you the feeling of being Commander Shepherd. You're not actually Commander Shepherd. That's sort of my thought with that. The character licenses could be all of the playable characters and party members from the first 4 Mass Effect games, obviously, 1 through 3, as well as Andromeda. If we're really lucky, they'll include Infiltrator and give us Randall Enzo, but then they could also give us special characters like Saren, who's not playable. Maybe you beat several waves as a Turian character, and you will knock Saren during an event. I don't see any reason for them to limit it. As long as the game's profitable and people are coming back, they might as well add content to it. And of course, since it is a new game, they'll have to have some new modes, not just using what's already there. My first pick would be a Horde mode, where you can play alongside several players to build fortifications. Mass Effect 3 touched on it, giving us walls that we would have to walk up on and use turrets. But we never got to build the walls ourselves and survive endless waves of enemies. So I'd like to see where we can go with that. Choosing where to place a turret, choosing how to build the wall, or communicating with other players, trying to make sure that we can protect our home base. And if you survive a certain amount of waves, things start to get harder, enemies level up faster, whatever it is. And then, of course, player versus player modes. And that can just be basically how you would handle a boss fight, except without the pattern, because it's another player. They have their own squad, they're going into cover, you have to take out their squad. Be one-on-ones. It could be direct competitions, or just playing at the same time, trying to see who can finish levels faster. Kind of like what Pinnacle Station did, where you're trying to get these high scores. Except instead of it being on Pinnacle Station, it's live with another player. There's a lot they can do, especially if they get the voice actors back. I mean, I would love to play as Alec and Shepard. And Shepard is just sharing his stories with another N7 who was seen as disgraced for a while. Or, of course, Shepard and Ryder, with Shepard passing down knowledge to the next generation, and so on. I mean, I could go on for hours about character interactions between different characters, and that's a whole actual another concept I could think of. Because, I mean, if we're looking at characters like just from the party, that's one thing. If we're also getting in like Anderson and Kai Lang, who have a history together that the trilogy didn't explore very much outside of the books, which is the only reason people really know about it, other than 2 lines of dialogue. I could seriously go on for hours about which characters would get along, who could have met who, how character interaction would be done. And if people like this idea for a multiplayer game, then I would love to go into some of those stories. But they could add new modes, add new maps to existing modes, and just the character IDs alone already lends to some really long-term playability, because with Mass Effect 5 coming out, that's new characters that you could download and a new design for Liara for the customization options. As for certain characters like Caden and Ashley who can't be alive at the same time, really easy to fix that as well, because again, they're character ID licenses. They're made for specific platforms. Doesn't mean Caden or Ashley are actually there. And of course a card should have a lore blurb to tell you who the character is, like how Andromeda did it with Apex. Every character who wasn't named had their own lore blurb that you could actually erase and change their name, customize their lore, make it up yourself. I think that's perfect for all of the unnamed characters. You name them. They might have a lore blurb randomly generated or created for the basic for everybody to use. But you can actually write down your own lore on your card. So when another player is playing with you during a loading screen, they can see your lore card. Or maybe they can save your lore card and like look at it or whatever. You can set it to whether or not you're willing to share your lore cards. But for any legacy character, they have canon lore cards. They just tell you who the character is, what they accomplished, and bonus points if it links to your Mass Effect archives. So for me, I saved Ashley on Vermeer. For Caden, it talks about how he lost his life on Vermeer. And the Mass Effect 3 skin for Caden mentions this is a VI recreation of what we imagine he would look and feel and play like. And then my Ashley one just talks about what she accomplished, her becoming the first human female Spectre and whatever. Another person who left Ashley on Vermeer, same thing, she's a VI recreation, and Caden is the new Spectre, maybe the first male human Spectre, depending on who you played. So the lore blurbs could be great, even if just a really small detail that many people wouldn't pay attention to. I might spend as much time looking at those as I would playing the actual games. And I know that's a lot of features, and that's even before getting into all the different modes and concepts that I have in my mind. But I don't feel too bad about that, just because when developers are making a game, they pitch a game with so many ideas and so much content that they know some of it's going to have to get cut, right? Like, if I was told to actually make this game, I know I would have to compromise and cut some things out. But I'd rather talk about all the things that it could be and work backwards than limit myself at the very beginning of a project. So this, of course, is just a fan concept, but I'd love to see what other people think about it, just for honestly the fun of it. It's not likely what BioWare's got on their mind or something they're willing to outsource to another company. But it's really worth talking about what we think a Mass Effect multiplayer game could look like, because who knows, maybe if we all chat about it and workshop ideas off of each other, eventually something snowballs and BioWare actually makes movement. And definitely keeps the multiplayer only aspects out of their main games and does not try to turn Mass Effect into a live service game or anything like that. But that's not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just saying I don't want that. I do think that it's healthy to workshop these ideas off of each other. So I hope that anything I said sounded interesting, and maybe if people do like talking about this fan concept, then that's something that I can do. Just share other character concepts, what characters could be added, those sorts of things. So if this is a concept that seems fun to you, then just tell me which characters outside of the main squad mates you would love to see come into the game, and what things you would change to make it a cohesive game that can actually work, can actually play. I wanted to put this out as I prepare to talk about the Mass Effect franchise more. There are so many things I want to see in 5, and there's so much stuff to dissect in the trilogy and in Andromeda alone that I've always been nervous about getting into, just because of it being a choice-based game, and I know some people don't want to talk about the games as a narrative, they want to talk about the RPG feels, but some of the most deep concepts are about the themes and the narrative, not the RPG stuff. So it's always like one of those things that I love and I want to talk about, but I know might just offend people when I start talking about it. So I never get to talk about it all that much. So please feel free to talk about this multiplayer concept that has completely no stakes and no reason to be mad about, because it's a great chance to get you to talk about Mass Effect if nothing else. Please engage. Okay. I feel like that's enough of a disclaimer, right? Thank you all, and until next time, it's been great. This has been me, Wisp.